There comes a time in everyone's life when you just do something crazy and stupid for no reason. But it's not a new concept. People have been doing crazy things for centuries. And if they had Twitter back then, these would definitely be some of the YOLO swag moments. Number 1. Thutmose III. He was an Egyptian pharaoh that was only 17 years old when he got the job. He was leading his army to capture a city called Megiddo. It was his first time leading a march, and he had to look out for Canaanite soldiers who wanted to kill him and wipe out his army. He came across a mountain range, and knew Canaanite soldiers were on the other side. He had 3 possible routes to take. Thutmose could lead his army around either sides of the mountains, or lead them down a narrow path going through the middle. His advisors said the best way to go was around the mountains, because if the Canaanite soldiers attacked, they could stretch their army out and flank the enemy. But if they went through a narrow pass, Canaanite soldiers could wait right here and kill Thutmose' army one by one. But Thutmose, being the cocky, rebellious punk that he was, looked his advisors straight in the eye and said, "YOLO, probably." And he would have tweeted about it too. Despite having no good reason to go through the mountains, he did. And the story could have ended there with 10,000 Egyptian deaths. But the Canaanites on the other side of the mountain thought no one would be stupid enough to go through the mountain pass, so they positioned their army here and here. When Thutmose got to the other side, he saw an extreme lack of Canaanite soldiers there. He marched his army back around, surprising the Canaanite soldiers and winning the battle. Number 2. Onfim. Onfim was a 7-year-old boy who lived in Novgorod, Russia in the 1200s. He went to school and did his homework scratched in soft birch bark. He probably really hated school because in this example of homework we found, we see the first 11 letters of the alphabet here, and then a picture of a warrior who's probably killing the teacher, which is labeled Onfim. In this piece we have homework on one side, and on the other side is a picture of what looks like to be a wild beast, and the writings, "I am a wild beast." And he's holding a sign that reads, "Greetings from Onfim to Danilo." Now he's writing notes to his friend? This guy was the oldest example of someone who wasn't paying attention in school. There's also a picture of his mom and his dad, Onfim and his dad, who apparently was a warrior, some battle scenes with a really long horse, and some more random doodles. I mean, the doodles I made when I was 7 were a little better. Can you imagine 800 years from now, future archaeologists digging up doodles you made in 1st grade? I wonder if his teacher saw these. He turned them in, right? This just proves that teachers have been dealing with obnoxious students for centuries. I'm surprised the scientists didn't find this work on an ancient refrigerator. Number 3. Michelangelo. Michelangelo is, by definition, a swag master. He didn't give a flying buttress what people said about his art. He didn't care if you were the Pope. In fact, he hated the Pope. So when the Pope commissioned him to paint the Sistine Chapel, he straight up said, no. But he really needed the dough, so he reluctantly did it. In an act of pure swag, he left a couple of hidden Easter eggs inside. In one painting, we have God creating the sun and moon. Get it? The sun and moon? Classic. People prayed under this for hundreds of years. There's also a debate in this iconic part of God giving life to Adam. You see, some people see an outline of a human brain right here. Now, people don't know if Mikey put it in there intentionally, or what he meant by it if he did. Some people say that he meant that God is giving Adam intelligence, and others say that God was thought up by man. Something else, when the papal minister of ceremonies, Biagio de Sensina, I don't know. Anyway, he came in while Michelangelo was painting and complained about all the nudity. Michael said he wasn't going to change it, and the minister left begrudgingly. So to get back at him, Michael painted the man in hell. And just to add insult to injury, he painted a snake biting off his David parts. The Pope wanted Michelangelo to change it, but he was so done with Michael's swagger that he decided to leave it. Number 4. Annie Taylor. Annie Taylor was taking a boat tour to see Niagara Falls when the thought came to her, I want to slide down that. She was going through a bit of economic trouble at the time, and thought that going down the falls in a barrel would make her famous. She had a special barrel made, and padded it with a mattress. She tested it by putting a cat in the barrel and sending it over the falls, which luckily survived with minor injury. 2 days later, Annie went over and also survived. However, she earned some money, but not a lot. She spent the rest of her life posing for photographs with tourists, just trying to earn enough money until she died in 1921. But you are more thankful that the cat lived, aren't you? Number 5. Patu. In the 1770s, a racehorse named Potatoes was resting in a stable when a stable worker asked the owner what the horse's name was. He needed to know what to write on a feeding bucket. The owner said the horse's name, but the worker misheard him, thinking he said pot, 8 O's. And thus the name Patu was born. And the worker would have been a great employee at Starbucks, seeing that he misspells people's names wrong. But the story doesn't end there. The owner thought the name was funny and was full of swag, and decided to change the name to Patu. However, they still pronounced it potatoes, but they wrote it pot 8 O's. I guess the horse must have been Irish.